The Miami Dolphins have made a move that shuffles not just the roster but the vibe of the offense. And yeah, it has that pulse beat feeling of something has to change now. They signed tight end Greg Dulcich from the practice squad and placed veteran Darren Waller on injured reserve. Then they brought in another tight end, Chris Myarick, to the practice squad. There's urgency in this. There's a sense of reset. Let's unpack what all of this means, because it isn't just names and numbers. It's an under-the-surface shift, a gamble, a fresh signal that the ceiling is real but the fragility is too. Dulcich has been around the block a bit. 21 games, 10 starts across 3 seasons with the Denver Broncos, 2022-24, and the New York Giants, 2024. His stat line, 41 receptions, 464 yards, that's an 11.3 average, and 2 touchdowns. Not eye-popping, but credible. He was a third-round pick, 80th overall in 2022, out of UCLA, where he had 77 catches, 1,353 yards, 11 touchdowns, and averaged 17.6 yards per catch. That college stuff screams big play potential. So when Miami brings him up from the practice squad, they're grabbing a tool in their bag with upside. Now Waller, he's not just any tight end. Over 90 career games, 64 starts, 360 receptions, 4,241 yards at an 11.8 average, and 24 touchdowns. He's been a Pro Bowler 2020, and he's battled through his share of highs and lows. He came into the league as a 6th rounder, 204th overall, 2015, from Georgia Tech. So, to place him on IR means something broke, not just physically, but maybe the momentum too. It leaves a gap, leadership, experience, reliability. And Myarick, he's more of a depth move, yes, but there's something to be said for those guys who stick around, fight for roster spots, show up in training camps, know the system. He's appeared in 27 games with 11 starts, Miami 2020, Giants 2021-22, 10 receptions, 82 yards, 2 touchdowns cumulatively. Undrafted coming out of Temple University, 23 catches, 229 yards, 1 TD in college. Maybe not sexy, but useful. You need guys like that when things get messy. So what's really going on here? Why this movement now? First, injuries happen. Waller going to IR means the tight end room changes overnight. Suddenly you've got to ask, who steps into the void? How do you fill not just the production but the presence that Waller brought? The Dolphins didn't wait. They elevated Dulcich, brought in Myarick. That says, we're not pausing. We're adjusting. Second, potential. Look at Dulcich's college numbers. 17.6 yards per catch, 11 touchdowns. That kind of efficiency whispers, what if? The Dolphins probably saw something. Maybe better blocking, maybe seam routes, maybe challenging mismatches. In the NFL, tight ends who can move like that, rare. If Dulcich unlocks even parts of that, this offense could gain a wrinkle. Third, environment and culture. The Dolphins are a team with ambition. This move tells the locker room, everyone, stay ready. We got to step up. It's a message to the fan base, too. We're not sitting back and hoping for the best. We're acting. That can carry momentum. If Dulcich nails it, if Myarick gives depth, if the coaching staff channels it well. But, and yes, there's a but, there's risk. Can Dulcich adjust fast enough? Learning a playbook, absorbing the blocking schemes, building chemistry with the quarterback. Those are non-glamorous, grindy pieces. If he can't manage that, the gap left by Waller will show. And Myarick, same. His role might be limited, but in a season where every snap matters, depth is depth until it isn't. Also, what about the locker room? Waller was known, respected. Losing him means more than stats. The impact might show in subtle ways. In the huddle, in the sideline energy, in how younger players behave. The Dolphins now must ensure that the culture, the standard, stays high. From the fan perspective, this is interesting. If you're watching from a stands or couch, you're thinking, okay, what will Dulcich bring? Will he spark something new? Is this the moment he steps up and becomes more than a fill-in? There's excitement, yes, but also tension. The Dolphins are chasing something. They want to win now. They can't afford too many drops, misreads, regressions. I'll throw this out. Watch for how the Dolphins deploy Dulcich. Is he in heavy sets? Is he motioning? Is he used in mismatches? If the coaches believe, they'll try to create space for him, isolate him, let him run after the catch. If they play him safe, he becomes just another cog. And that would be disappointing, given the window. Another angle. This move might force defenses to adjust. With Waller gone, defenses will maybe shift attention. Are the Dolphins trying to use more two tight end sets? Will Dulcich speed force linebackers into uncomfortable spots? If so, that opens up plays for receivers, for the run game. Strategy can change on a dime. But what if it doesn't click? That's the real question. The gamble is real. Management makes a decision, but execution belongs to coaches and players. If Dulcich struggles, if Myrick isn't enough, then the tight end position becomes a weakness, more than a strength. And in matchups late in the season, you don't want to give opponents an edge there. In broader terms, this shows the Dolphins are unafraid to pivot. They're not locked into sentimentality. They saw Waller hit IR. They reacted. They reinvested. That's healthy in today's NFL. Teams who hesitate often fall behind. This might keep them in contention, keep the momentum going. What to keep an eye on in the next weeks? How often Dulcich is targeted? How many snaps he takes? His involvement in red zone. Also, his blocking, because a tight end is more than a pass catcher. If he can hold up in the run game, that's value. And for Myrick, will he be purely practice squad depth, or will he see the field? If he does, that means the coaching staff trusts him, and that could mean injuries or rotations. At the end of the day, for Dolphins fans, this is a moment of decision. Will this move be a masterstroke, or a modest adjustment? It might depend on weeks. It might depend on one catch, one block, one big play that opens things up. And if that one catch comes, the ripple could be felt across the offense and across the season. So yeah, the news is out. Dulcich is up. Waller is down. Myrick is in. The chessboard has changed. Now we watch the pieces move. But the more you look at it, the more you feel this move isn't just about roster management. It's a pulse check. A sign that Miami knows what time it is. Because this team, right now, can't afford to blink. You don't put a name like Waller on injured reserve and shrug it off. You feel it. You sense the void, the uncertainty, and the question that lingers. Who's stepping up when the script suddenly changes? That's where Greg Dulcich becomes a story that's not just about opportunity. It's about timing. Every player has that invisible window, that stretch of weeks or snaps when everything hangs in the balance. And maybe, just maybe, this is his window. The kind that doesn't come back around if you hesitate. You can almost imagine the adrenaline in that locker room. His name gets called. His locker tag moves. He's part of the 53 now. There's noise, whispers, a few nods of approval from teammates who've seen him grind in silence. That's what this league is about. Silent work until someone notices. And still, questions float. Can he fit into that rhythm that Miami's offense breathes? Can he sync with the tempo, the quick cuts, the timing routes that demand instinct more than thought? Because thinking slows you down. The Dolphins don't need thinkers out there. They need movers, guys who react, who see a lane before it's open. If Dulcich becomes that guy, the whole feel of the offense can shift. What about Myrick? It's easy to overlook him. Practice squad signings don't light up headlines. But sometimes the depth guys carry something different, quiet reliability, a sense of I've been here before. He's played for Miami, left, found his way back. That says something about persistence, about keeping the door open even after it closes on you once. There's a certain respect that comes with that. Coaches remember those guys. Meanwhile, the bigger story keeps simmering. Darren Waller. You can't talk about the Dolphins without feeling that gap. When a player like that goes down, you don't just lose catches. You lose presence. His voice in meetings, his reads on coverage, his calm under pressure. It's not easy to replace. So maybe the team doesn't even try to replace it directly. Maybe they spread the weight across the roster. Let others carry a piece of it each. That's often how winning teams survive injuries, not by finding another star, but by letting the system bend without breaking. It's fascinating how football turns into this living organism. You lose one part, and everything else starts to adapt, rewire, compensate. Some players shrink from it, others find new gears. You never really know until it happens. And that's what makes this whole situation with Dulcich and Myrick so intriguing. It's unpredictable. It's raw. You can feel the uncertainty, but also that tiny thread of belief. That quiet, almost stubborn belief that something good can come out of disruption. You have to wonder what Mike McDaniel sees behind closed doors. He's not the type to play safe. If Dulcich caught his eye enough to get called up, there's probably something there. Speed, timing, a feel for space. Maybe he's been showing it in practice. Maybe the chemistry with Tua clicked in some silent way nobody outside noticed yet. Every season, one or two guys surprise you. This could be one of those moments we look back on and say, that's when it started. And yet, there's the other side, the risk, the doubt. Because what if Dulcich doesn't sink? What if the moment feels too heavy? It happens. Not every call-up turns into a spark. Some fade quietly. But in this league, even one breakout game can change everything. Maybe he gets open down the seam, finds the end zone, the sideline erupts, and suddenly he's the guy. That's how fast it flips. You can picture it already, the huddle tightening, Tua scanning the defense, Dulcich nodding ready. The ball snapped, the release clean, the catch sure. That's the type of moment that doesn't just add yards, it adds belief. And the Dolphins, more than anything right now, need belief. Belief that they can adapt, that losing Waller isn't the end of balance, that their offense still hums even when the lineup shifts. It's not just about X's and O's. It's about energy. Miami season rides on how well they absorb this change without letting it fracture their rhythm. Because once rhythm breaks, confidence wobbles. The Dolphins have been building something, momentum, chemistry, swagger. Losing Waller can't be the crack that lets doubt seep in. So the spotlight moves. It's on Dulcich, yes, but also on McDaniel, on Tua, on the play callers who decide how to use him. Do they trust him early? Do they test him with routes over the middle, where hits come fast and hard? Do they let him stretch the field and create mismatches against slower linebackers? Each call says something. Each snap writes a new line in how this offense evolves.